God's chosen one. God told you something is coming, and now it's here. Ready now, vertical bar, divine wake up. Stop scrolling right now. This is not a coincidence. This is divine appointment. Chosen one. Listen carefully. What if I told you heaven's been trying to reach you all week? What if the breakthrough you've been praying for isn't just coming, it's already arrived? What if you're standing at the edge of your miracle and don't even realize it? God told you something was coming, and now it's here. Have you felt that stirring in your spirit lately? That restlessness that keeps you awake at 3 a.m.? That's not anxiety, that's divine alertness. God is positioning you for something extraordinary. What if the moment you've been waiting for your entire life is already in front of you, disguised as an ordinary day? What if missing this moment means missing your entire assignment on earth? I need to be clear about something. This message isn't for everyone. It's specifically for the ones who've been in the waiting room of heaven, the ones who've been carrying promises that make no sense to anyone else, the ones who've been faithful when nobody was watching, the ones who've been ridiculed for believing too much, hoping too much, expecting too much. Heaven is making a declaration over you today. Your time is now. Before we continue, I need you to do 3 things immediately. First, type "ready now" in the comments below if your spirit is stirring as I speak. Second, enter the number 888. The number of new beginnings and divine abundance. Confirm you're aligned with this sacred moment. And third, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't wait. Heaven uses vessels that are positioned correctly, and subscribing keeps you connected to the prophetic wisdom you'll need for what's coming. I want to thank every single one of you who has supported this ministry through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating. You're helping spread divine light to others who feel alone in their calling, who need this exact word right now. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters in the kingdom. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and sow a seed of faith through Super Thanks. It's not about money, it's about participating in heaven's economy of blessing. Now listen closely. What I'm about to share will change everything. The prophetic shift that's happening right now has never occurred in our lifetime before. Have you been waking up at 3 a.m. with your heart pounding for no apparent reason? Have you felt that strange stirring in your spirit that you couldn't explain to anyone, not even to yourself? Have the hairs on your arms stood up while you were just going about your ordinary day, as if someone just walked over your future grave? You're not losing your mind. You're gaining spiritual sensitivity. This isn't the first time you've felt it. The shift, the tension, the urgency. Deep inside, something was building. Like pressure before a storm, like the stillness before an earthquake. Your spirit has been picking up divine frequencies that your mind couldn't translate until now. Let me tell you something that might shock you. God has been speaking to you through these sensations all along. Every unexplained tear, every sudden burst of hope in the middle of your despair, every dream that felt more real than your waking life. These weren't random, they were appointments, divine telegrams from heaven to you. Remember Habakkuk 2-3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. The vision God gave you years ago, that thing He whispered to your heart when nobody was watching, it wasn't forgotten. It was fermenting. It was growing roots deep beneath the surface where no human eye could see. You weren't imagining it. God was preparing you. And now the preparation season ends. The waves you've been feeling, they're not just coming anymore, they're here, breaking on the shores of your reality. The rumbling beneath your feet, that's not anxiety, that's the kingdom of heaven advancing with unstoppable force. What about those nights you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if God had abandoned you? What about those moments when you nearly gave up on the promise? What about the times you questioned your own sanity for believing in something nobody else could see? Let me tell you what was really happening. God was positioning every detail, aligning every circumstance, removing every obstacle. He was working in the shadows while you were waiting in the light. You see, in Isaiah 55:8-9, God reminds us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." When it looked like nothing was happening, everything was happening. When it seemed like God was silent, he was shouting instructions to angels concerning you. Think about Joseph in that Egyptian prison cell. Year after year, forgotten, abandoned, wondering if his dreams were just delusions. And then, in one day, he went from prisoner to prime minister. One day changed everything. Your one day has arrived. Those people who called you crazy for holding on to hope, they're about to witness what happens when God vindicates patient faith. Those situations that seemed absolutely impossible, they're about to bend to divine intervention. Remember how Mary felt when the angel Gabriel told her she would give birth to the Messiah? Confused, overwhelmed, maybe even a little afraid. But she responded with, "Be it unto me according to thy word." And history changed forever. This moment requires the same response from you, the same surrender, the same faith-filled yes that doesn't need to understand the how. Can I be real with you for a second? The reason this message feels so personal, so specific to you, is because it is. God doesn't waste divine appointments. He doesn't trigger spiritual sensitivity for no reason. Every vibration you felt in your spirit has been preparation for this moment. What if I told you that the seemingly random struggles you've endured were actually strategic training sessions? What if every closed door wasn't a rejection, but a redirection? What if every person who walked away was removed by divine design? You've been in a waiting room, but not because God forgot about you. You've been in divine quarantine, being prepared for a purpose that required precision timing. What you thought was delay was divine alignment. And now, chosen one, let me tell you exactly what this divine alignment has positioned you for. The revelation I'm about to share will explain everything you've been feeling and everything you're about to experience. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. The season of preparation is over. The thing you prayed for is not on the way. It's here. The miracle you've been begging heaven for is not coming tomorrow. It's standing at your door right now. For years, you've carried this promise. You've held on to prophetic words when they made no sense. You've believed when everyone around you said you were crazy. You've stood firm when the evidence screamed that God had forgotten you. But something has shifted in the spiritual atmosphere. Can you feel it? That electricity in your spirit? That sudden clarity after years of confusion? That peace that makes no logical sense given your circumstances? The clouds have parted. The light is breaking through. Daniel waited 21 days for his breakthrough while spiritual warfare raged in the heavenlies. The Bible says, "Then he said to me, 'Do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand, your words were heard.'" Daniel 10:12. Your words were heard on day one. The battle wasn't about if your breakthrough would come, it was about when. And I'm here to declare to you that when is now. How many more signs do you need? How many more confirmations are you waiting for? How much longer will you stand at the edge of your promised land, refusing to step in because fear has convinced you the timing isn't right? What if I told you that your endless waiting wasn't God's plan at all? What if the enemy's greatest strategy wasn't to stop your blessing but to make you miss it by keeping you in a perpetual state of almost there? Wake up, the door is wide open before you. You are no longer waiting for the prophecy. You are living inside the fulfillment. Comment, I receive. Right now, if this word is piercing your spirit, don't just read it, claim it. When you declare your readiness to receive, you're making a spiritual transaction that heaven honors. I know you're scared. I know this feels too good to be true. I know your heart has been broken by disappointment too many times to count. But chosen one, listen to what the Spirit is saying. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak, and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Habakkuk 2-3. The appointed time is here. Remember when God told Noah to build an ark? There wasn't a cloud in the sky. For 120 years, he looked like a fool. But there came a day when the first raindrop fell. This is your first raindrop. Remember when the Israelites marched around Jericho? For 6 days, nothing happened. Their feet got sore, their faith got tested, their enemies mocked them from the walls. But on that 7th day, this is your 7th day. Some of you have been holding on to promises for 10 years, 20 years. Some of you for your entire lives. You've said, God, if this doesn't happen soon, it's too late. But our God specializes in too late. When Lazarus had been dead for 4 days, everyone said it was too late. When Sarah was 90 years old, biology said it was too late. When the disciples were trapped in a storm about to drown, logic said it was too late. But Jesus always arrives precisely on time. I need you to do something right now that might feel uncomfortable. I need you to physically stand up wherever you are. Yes, Rhode Island, get now. Stand up. Now, with every ounce of faith in your being, I want you to declare these words out loud. It's happening now. Say it again. It's happening now. The moment those words left your lips, something shifted in the spirit realm. Angels were dispatched. Obstacles were removed. Provision was released. You just crossed over from spectator to participant in your own miracle. This isn't just emotional hype. This is a divine transaction. When God announces that a season has changed, it has already changed in heaven. Your job is simply to align your beliefs with what's already been established in eternity. The Red Sea doesn't part until you put your foot in the water. The walls don't fall until you shout. The prison doors don't open until you praise. Chosen one, your foot is at the water's edge. Your lungs are full of air for the shout. Your lips are formed to release the praise. Everything you've endured was preparation for this exact moment. But you must understand something crucial about this divine moment we're in. This isn't just about your blessing, it's about your assignment. And that assignment is bigger than you've ever imagined. Chosen one, I need to speak directly to your heart right now. That pain you've been carrying, it wasn't random. That rejection that still stings when you remember it, it was strategic. Those doors that slammed in your face when you were certain they should have opened, they weren't failures, they were protection. Every closed door was training you. Let me say that again so it sinks deep into your spirit. Every closed door was training you. In Proverbs 16:9, Scripture tells us, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord determines their steps. Your disappointments weren't punishment, they were divine redirection. Remember that relationship that fell apart? The one that left you questioning your worth? God was protecting you from a connection that would have drained your purpose. That job you didn't get? The one that seemed perfect? It would have taken you off your divine assignment. That opportunity that passed you by? It wasn't your season yet. You see, delay is not denial, it's design. I know there were nights you cried until there were no tears left. I know there were mornings you woke up wondering if God had forgotten you. There were seasons when everyone else seemed to be flourishing while you were floundering. Do you know what was happening in those moments? Heaven was qualifying you. Jeremiah 29:11 promises us, For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. When Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, and then falsely accused and imprisoned, you think he understood the process? No, but every single hardship was preparing him to save nations. What if your suffering has been preparation for your assignment to save others? That health crisis that nearly broke you? It gave you compassion that no school could teach. That financial hardship? It taught you resourcefulness that no degree could provide. That season of loneliness? It created space for God to speak when everyone else's voices were too loud. Your tears weren't wasted. They were watering the seeds of your destiny. When a farmer plants a seed, what's the first thing that happens? That seed is buried in darkness. It gets covered in dirt. To anyone looking at that field, it appears nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, transformation is taking place. In John 12:24, Jesus said, "Very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds." You weren't buried, you were planted. Let me speak to someone specifically right now. You've been asking God, why me? Why all this pain? Why all this waiting? And you're exhausted from trying to make sense of it all. What if I told you that your suffering wasn't punishment for what you did wrong, but preparation for what you'll do right? David was anointed king but spent years running for his life in caves before he ever sat on a throne. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before he ever led anyone to the promised land. Jesus himself spent 30 years in obscurity before 3 years of ministry that changed the world forever. Your wilderness wasn't wasted. Your desert wasn't a detour. Your pain has been purposeful. Romans 8:28 promises us that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. So those tears you cried in the middle of the night when no one was watching, they were watering the seeds of your calling, that rejection that made you question your worth. It was redirecting you to your divine assignment. Those prayers that seemed to go unanswered, they were being collected for such a time as this. The enemy meant it for evil, but God was using it for good. The darkness wasn't your destination, it was your development. And now, you're breaking ground. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit isn't just emotion, it's confirmation. The tears in your eyes right now aren't just sadness being released, they're the waters of new life beginning to flow. Scripture tells us in Isaiah 43:19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Your breakthrough isn't just coming, it's here. The seeds of promise planted in tears are now ready for harvest. Every closed door was training you for the open door you're about to walk through. Every rejection was protecting you for the divine connection that's about to manifest. Every delay was developing character that could handle the calling. You weren't buried, beloved. You were planted, and now you're breaking ground. But there's something critical you need to understand about this season of emergence that most believers miss entirely. Something that could determine whether you fully step into what God has prepared or if you remain stuck in the cycle of almost breakthrough. What is the missing key that separates those who merely survive from those who actually thrive in their divine assignment? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you isn't just a message, it's a divine decree from heaven's courtroom. Your financial breakthrough is not coming. It has already been activated. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now? The financial struggle you've been enduring wasn't a punishment, it was preparation. God allowed you to experience lack so you would recognize abundance when it arrived. And make no mistake, it has arrived. What once took years will now happen in days. Let that sink in. The same God who fed thousands with 5 loaves and 2 fish is about to multiply everything you touch. The same God who turned water into wine is about to transform your financial situation so dramatically that people will ask, "How is this even possible?" You're about to experience a financial flood from the sky, a river flowing against time, resources appearing from places you never expected, connections you never pursued, opportunities you never applied for. Have you noticed the signs already? Small windfalls, unexpected refunds, discounts you didn't ask for. These aren't coincidences, they're the first drops before the downpour. Psalm 115:14 declares, "May the Lord cause you to flourish, both you and your children." This isn't just a nice sentiment, it's a prophetic reality being activated over your life right now. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is raising your financial situation from the grave of lack. Unexpected deposits, divine connections, supernatural overflow, debts cancelled, mortgages paid, medical bills vanishing, inheritance released, business doors opening. Why now? Why you? Because you remained faithful when it made no sense. Because you continued to give when your account was nearly empty. Because you praised in the valley when no one was watching. Do you think that escaped heaven's attention? Do you think God didn't notice your tears as you wrote that tithe check, not knowing how you'd pay your electric bill? I know what it's been like. The nights staring at the ceiling, wondering how to make it to the next paycheck. The embarrassment of having to say no to your grandchildren. The fear of checking your mailbox, dreading another bill you can't pay. That season is over. Malachi 3:10 promises, "I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out a blessing so great you won't have enough room to take it in." That's not just scripture, that's your story being written right now. I need to ask you something personal. Have you given up on believing for financial abundance? Have you settled for just getting by? Have you convinced yourself that poverty is somehow more spiritual than prosperity? That's not God's heart for you. Jesus said in John 10:10, "I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." The Greek word used there is perissos. It means superabundant, excessive, overflowing, beyond measure. God doesn't want you just surviving, He wants you thriving. But there's something you need to understand. This financial breakthrough isn't coming so you can hoard it. It's coming so you can become a distribution center for kingdom wealth. You're not being blessed to increase your standard of living, you're being blessed to increase your standard of giving. I need you to get ready. I need you to prepare your heart. I need you to prepare your accounts. What would you do if $50,000 showed up in your account this week? What ministry would you support if your home was suddenly paid off? Who would you help if your retirement was suddenly tripled? Here's what you need to do tonight, and don't delay. Take out a piece of paper and write down your most impossible financial goal. Be specific, exact numbers, exact needs, exact dreams. Then fold that paper and place it under your pillow with the number 999 written on the back, the number of divine completion and financial harvest. As you lay your head down tonight, I want you to speak these words with authority. Wealth follows my obedience. My prosperity is connected to my purpose. What God has promised, He will fulfill. Say it every night for the next 21 days. This isn't empty ritual, this is prophetic activation. You are literally aligning your spirit with heaven's economy. Remember, Joseph went from the prison to the palace in a single day. Ruth went from gleaning leftover grain to owning the whole field overnight. The widow in 2 Kings went from crushing debt to overflowing oil in hours. Your financial miracle isn't scheduled for some distant future date. It's not coming someday. It's not waiting for next year. It is literally being released as I speak these words. Heaven's floodgates are opening. Angels of prosperity are being dispatched to your address. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit? That's not emotion, that's prophetic confirmation. I'm going to say something now that may shock some religious minds, but I need to be obedient. God is about to make some of you millionaires, not for your glory, for His purposes, not for your comfort, for kingdom advancement. The wealth transfer prophesied for decades is happening now, and you, chosen one, have been positioned to receive. But financial breakthrough is just one dimension of what God is releasing in this season. There's something even more significant happening in the spiritual realm that you need to understand. Listen carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you isn't just information, it's revelation. The systems that once seemed unshakable are now crumbling before your eyes. Can you see it? The financial institutions that once dictated your worth, the religious structures that kept you small, the social hierarchies that told you to wait your turn, they're all collapsing. And this isn't just coincidence or natural evolution, this is divine displacement. God is systematically removing what's man-made to establish what's heaven-ordained. Why now? Why you? Because a generation is waiting. They're waiting for leaders who aren't manufactured by the system, but molded in the secret place with God. The book of Esther declares, "And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Esther 4:14. Do you understand what heaven is saying? You weren't preserved through all those trials just to blend in. You weren't refined in the fire just to fit into someone else's mold. You weren't kept through the darkest nights of your soul just to follow the crowd when morning came. You're not called to blend in. You're called to break the system. Let that sink deep into your spirit. The old structures were designed to keep you dependent, to keep you asking permission, to keep you grateful for crumbs, when God prepared a banquet with your name on it. But what if I told you that every closed door, every rejection, every season when you were overlooked, it wasn't punishment, it was protection. God was keeping you from becoming entangled in systems that were never meant to contain your calling. Isaiah 43:19 declares, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." The new thing isn't just coming, it's here. And you are the vessel God has chosen to carry it. But understand this. With great calling comes great opposition. When you step into divine leadership, you threaten every demonic assignment against your generation. The enemy doesn't attack what's irrelevant, he attacks what's essential. Have you noticed the warfare intensifying lately? The unusual health challenges, the strange conflicts in relationships, the sudden financial pressures? That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. The enemy never wastes ammunition on those who pose no threat. Old systems are collapsing and heaven is raising you as a leader in their place. This isn't about fame or followers or platform. This is about divine influence, authority that doesn't come from man's approval but from heaven's appointment. Moses wasn't qualified on paper. David was overlooked by his own father. Peter was just a fisherman with a temper. Paul persecuted the very faith he was called to spread. But God saw beyond their circumstances to their calling, just like He sees yours. The world doesn't need more celebrities. It needs sent ones, leaders who speak with heaven's authority, not earth's permission. Leaders who build according to divine blueprint, not cultural trends. Leaders who understand that true power isn't found in controlling others, but in surrendering to God. Chosen one, I need you to hear this. There are people attached to your obedience. There are destinies connected to your decision to rise up. When Jonah ran from his assignment, a whole city nearly perished. When Moses hesitated, a generation remained in bondage a little longer. Who is waiting for you to step into your leadership? What family member? What community? What nation? The boldness you've been praying for isn't coming tomorrow, it's required today. This is the hour when the chosen ones must rise, not with arrogance, but with authority, not with pride, but with purpose, not with fear, but with fire from heaven itself. Every time you shrink back, someone else remains in darkness. Every time you stay silent, a lie goes unchallenged. Every time you play small, the enemy celebrates. You are rising not just for yourself, but for a people attached to your voice. Read that again. There are people attached to your voice. People you haven't met yet. People in places you haven't been. People who will recognize the authority of God the moment you open your mouth. Gideon was hiding in a wine press when the angel called him a mighty man of valor. He couldn't see it. All he could see was his limitation, his lack, his lineage. But God saw a deliverer. God saw a leader. God saw the future, not the present. What if the very thing that makes you different is what makes you dangerous to the enemy? What if your struggle has been preparation for your strength? What if your pain has been training for your purpose? The systems are shifting, the stage is set, heaven is watching, and a generation is waiting. It's your move, chosen one. As we move into the next revelation, I need you to settle this in your spirit. You were never meant to maintain what exists. You were born to manifest what's coming. The question isn't whether God has called you to lead. The question is, will you answer? Listen carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you isn't just information, it's activation. The world doesn't need more entertainers. It doesn't need more influencers. It doesn't need more voices saying what itching ears want to hear. You were not anointed to entertain. You were born to awaken sleepers. Do you understand what's happening right now? Systems are failing. Institutions are crumbling. The things people have put their trust in are being shaken to their core. Psalm 82:5 says, "All the foundations of the earth are unstable." This isn't just another season. This is the time the prophets saw coming, when everything that can be shaken will be shaken. But why? Why is God allowing this shaking? Because sleeping giants must be awakened. Because comfortable Christians must remember their calling. Because you were positioned by heaven for this exact moment in history. When Mordecai told Esther, "Who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" he wasn't giving her a compliment. He was reminding her of her divine assignment. Look at your life. Those struggles weren't random. Those rejections weren't accidents. Those closed doors weren't failures. They were preparation. God wasn't punishing you. He was positioning you. Do you remember those nights you cried out to God asking, "Why me? Why is my path so different? Why can't things be easier?" Now you know. You were being forged in the fire, not for comfort, but for commissioning. Your neighbors don't need another church program. Your community doesn't need another religious performance. They need living proof that God still speaks, still heals, still delivers, still transforms. Your life will be a sermon more powerful than any words preached from a pulpit. Your testimony will unlock what has been dormant in others. In Ezekiel 37, God showed the prophet a valley of dry bones and asked, "Can these bones live?" That's the question heaven is asking about this generation, about your family, about your workplace, about your neighborhood. Can these bones live? And you are God's answer. You are the prophetic voice that will speak life where death has reigned. Do you realize what I'm saying to you right now? You will be the reason someone else remembers who they were born to be. You will be the key that unlocks someone else's prison door. You will be the light that helps someone else find their way back home to God. But this isn't about pride. This isn't about platform. This is about purpose. Jesus said in Matthew 5:14-16, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." When was the last time your light made someone else glorify God? When was the last time your words, your actions, your very presence disrupted spiritual slumber around you? If you're hearing this message and something is stirring inside you, that fire in your bones that won't let you stay silent, I need you to do something right now. Share this video with someone else who you know is chosen, someone who's been overlooked, someone who's been through the fire, someone who doesn't fit in with the crowd. They need this confirmation today. Now, I want you to pray this aloud with me. Don't just listen, participate in this prophetic moment. God, use me as a light in the middle of collapse. I surrender my comfort. I surrender my plans. I surrender my fear. Make my life a living sermon that awakens others to their divine purpose. I accept my assignment as a chosen one in this generation. You feel that? That weight on your spirit right now? That's not condemnation. That's commissioning. That's heaven's authority coming upon you. The days of hiding are over. The season of silence is finished. Isaiah 60:1 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." I know this is overwhelming. I know this feels heavy. Some of you are thinking, I'm just one person. I'm too old. I'm too broken. I'm too ordinary. But that's exactly who God uses. When God wanted to part the Red Sea, he didn't use an army. He used an 80-year-old shepherd with a staff. When God wanted to bring down Jericho, he didn't use weapons. He used worship. When God wanted to save the world, he didn't use power. He used a carpenter from Nazareth. The awakening that's coming won't start in mega churches. It won't start with celebrities. It won't start with the powerful or prestigious. It will start with the chosen ones who have been hidden, who have been tested, who have been prepared in the wilderness, who have been faithful when no one was watching. It will start with you. But here's what I need to know right now. Will you answer the call, or will you be the one who almost changed history? And if you do answer this call, what exactly will it cost you? What will you need to leave behind? What comfort zones must you abandon? That's what we need to address next. Chosen one, I need to speak something over your life right now that might shake you. This isn't just another message. This is a divine warning wrapped in love. Prophetic moments carry weight. They require urgency. They demand response. Have you ever wondered why the Israelites spent 40 years wandering in a desert journey that should have taken 11 days? It wasn't because God was slow. It wasn't because the promise wasn't real. It was because they missed their moment. When Moses sent 12 spies into the promised land, 10 came back frozen in fear. Only Joshua and Caleb had the courage to step into what God had already declared. And because of hesitation, an entire generation missed their inheritance. Listen to me carefully. Missing this moment can mean circling the mountain again for another season, another year, another decade. The book of Esther tells us she was positioned for such a time as this. But remember what Mordecai told her. If you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. Do you understand what I'm saying? Heaven will accomplish its purposes with or without you. The question is, will you be part of it, or will you watch from the sidelines? Look at your life right now. Those closed doors weren't rejections, they were divine redirections. Those relationships that suddenly ended, protection. Those financial struggles, preparation. God wasn't punishing you, he was positioning you. And now, right now, the positioning is complete. Can I be brutally honest with you? Most people will miss this season because they're looking for it in the wrong places. They want neon signs when God often speaks in whispers. They want burning bushes when God is speaking through burning hearts. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Notice God doesn't say, "I will do a new thing." He says, "I am doing a new thing." Present tense, right now. The question isn't whether God is moving. The question is, are you perceiving it? When Peter walked on water, The miracle didn't begin on the water. It began when he stood up in the boat. When he made the decision to move while everyone else sat still, paralyzed by conventional thinking. What boat of comfort are you sitting in right now, watching the Master call your name? There are three types of people watching this message right now. Those who will dismiss it as coincidence, those who will recognize it as truth but still hesitate, and those rare few who will immediately act on what they're hearing. Which one are you? Heaven is not waiting anymore. You must act. The prophet Haggai delivered a word to people who kept saying, "The time has not yet come to rebuild the Lord's house." And God's response, "Is it time for you yourselves to dwell in your paneled houses while this house lies in ruins? How many more signs do you need? How many more closed doors? How many more divine appointments? How many more 3 a.m. wake-up calls from the Holy Spirit? You feel it, don't you? That stirring, that divine discontent, that knowing that there's more. It's not imagination, it's not wishful thinking, it's prophetic awareness. Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. What if your delay isn't God's timing but your hesitation? What if the very thing you're praying for is waiting on your obedience? Revelation says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." Notice Jesus doesn't break down the door, he knocks. The response is still your choice. But chosen one, please hear me, some doors don't stay open forever. Moses had his burning bush, Mary had her angelic visitation, Paul had his Damascus road. This message is your divine interruption. Remember the parable of the 10 virgins? All were invited to the wedding. All knew the bridegroom was coming, but only half were ready when he arrived. The difference wasn't information, they all had the same information. The difference was preparation. The difference was readiness. The difference was taking action while others procrastinated. The days of casual Christianity are over. The days of convenient faith are over. The days of spectator spirituality are over. Heaven is drafting spiritual warriors who will move when others won't, who will speak when others stay silent, who will build when others criticize. Chosen one, I don't know what God has been whispering to your heart. I don't know what promises you've been carrying, but I know this: the season of preparation has served its purpose. Now is the season of manifestation. So I ask you again, are you ready to step out of the boat? Are you ready to leave your comfort behind? Are you ready to be the Joshua or Caleb of your generation who says, "We are well able," when everyone else sees only giants? Because the promised land isn't just a destination, it's your destiny. And the time for entering isn't someday. It isn't tomorrow. It's now. What makes this moment so critical, so different from any other spiritual awakening in histories? What heaven is about to reveal to the faithful few who are positioned correctly. There's something inside of you that's been sleeping. A power so raw, so untamed, that heaven has been waiting for the perfect moment to awaken it. You've been asking God for strength, all while carrying a dormant giant within you. Proverbs 28:1 tells us, "The righteous are as bold as a lion." Not will be bold, not should be bold, are bold. Present tense, current reality. Have you ever wondered why you've faced such fierce battles? Why the enemy seems fixated on you? Listen to me carefully. The enemy didn't attack you because you were weak. He attacked you because you're dangerous. The level of warfare you've experienced isn't random, it's revealing. Satan doesn't waste resources on non-threats. He attacks what terrifies him most. And what terrifies him most is a chosen one who finally realizes who they really are. Remember David? Before he was king, he was just a shepherd boy, but something in him was sleeping a royal authority that would one day topple giants. What if your greatest weakness is actually your greatest weapon in disguise? What if everything you thought disqualified you is exactly what God will use to qualify you? Those nights you cried yourself to sleep, that was strength being forged. Those times you were overlooked, that was purpose being protected. Those moments you felt abandoned, that was your calling being preserved. The world doesn't understand you because they're not supposed to. Diamonds don't explain themselves to stones. 1 Samuel 16:7 reminds us, the Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. When everyone else saw a shepherd, God saw a king. When everyone else saw a fisherman, God saw an apostle. When everyone else sees your struggles, God sees your throne. Do you feel that stirring inside you right now? That's not just emotion. That's ancient power awakening. The enemy has been studying your movements, analyzing your patterns, desperately trying to figure out how to keep you dormant, because he knows what happens when you finally wake up. Your prayers aren't just words, they're weapons. Your worship isn't just songs, it's warfare. Your testimony isn't just a story, it's a sword. You've been fighting the wrong battle all along. You've been begging for what you already possess. You are not fighting for power, you are fighting from power. Let that sink into your spirit for a moment. You are not fighting for power, you are fighting from power. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. Lives in you. Not visits occasionally. Not comes when called. Lives there, makes his home there, operates from there. Romans 8:11 confirms it. And if the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies because of his spirit who lives in you. Do you understand what this means? You don't need more power, you need to activate the power already in you. What would happen if you stopped seeing yourself through the lens of your failures and started seeing yourself through the lens of your Father? What would change if you realized that every battle you faced wasn't meant to destroy you but to reveal you? The enemy is trembling right now. He's hoping you'll turn this video off before you fully grasp this truth. He's desperate for you to remain asleep, because a sleeping giant is no threat at all. But what happens when the giant wakes up? What happens when you finally understand that your assignment isn't separate from your identity, is your identity? You were created for such a time as this. Your name is written in the annals of heaven. Your purpose was established before time began. Ephesians 2:10 declares, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Prepared in advance, before you took your first breath, before you made your first mistake, before you faced your first rejection. The time for sleeping is over. The time for doubting is over. The time for hesitating is over. You carry authority that makes demons tremble. You carry wisdom that confounds the wise. You carry love that transforms the hardest hearts. The power isn't coming. The power is here. The power is in you. The power is waiting for you to simply say yes. So I ask you, chosen one, what will you do now that you know who you really are? Because what's about to be revealed will show you exactly how this sleeping giant within you is about to change everything around you. The world isn't just in crisis, chosen one. It's in transition. Look around you. The shakings, the uncertainty, the systems crumbling before your eyes. This isn't random chaos, it's divine dismantling. Have you ever wondered why you were born into this generation? Why not 100 years ago? Why not 100 years from now? Because God trusted you to be alive right now. In Esther 4:14, Mordecai told Esther something that heaven is declaring over you today. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for just such a time as this? Let that sink in. You were not born by accident. Your birthday was not random. Your life is not a cosmic coincidence. Every chosen one alive right now is here for this exact generation, this precise moment in history. When God looked across the span of human history, he specifically selected you to be alive during the greatest transition mankind has ever witnessed, the greatest outpouring, the greatest harvest. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are the seed of revival. You are the answer someone prayed for. You are the fulfillment of prophecies spoken centuries ago. Those unexplainable burdens you feel for people you've never met. That's not random emotion, that's prophetic assignment. That pain you feel when you see the world in darkness, that's not just empathy, that's divine authorization to bring light. But here's the shocking truth many won't tell you. If you don't step into your role, someone else will miss their blessing. If you stay silent, someone else will remain in darkness. If you shrink back, an entire generational chain of impact will be broken. In Isaiah 6-8, God asked, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" That question hangs over your life right now. Think about this. Moses was 80 years old when God called him to lead an entire nation out of slavery. Sarah was 90 when she gave birth to the child of promise. Abraham was 100, so don't you dare tell me you're too old. Don't you dare believe the lie that your greatest impact has already passed. The enemy wants you sidelined, comfortable, retired from purpose, because he knows your greatest assignment isn't behind you, it's right in front of you. Remember Noah? For 100 years, he built an ark while people mocked him. They called him crazy, delusional, a religious fanatic. But when the rain came, who was vindicated? You've been carrying dreams that made no sense to anyone around you. Visions too big to explain, burdens too heavy to put into words. Now heaven is saying, "It's time." The prophet Joel declared, "In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions." Joel 2:28. Did you catch that? Your old men will dream dreams. Not will retire from purpose. Not will shrink back in fear. No, they will dream dreams. The greatest warriors in God's kingdom aren't young people with energy. They're seasoned saints with wisdom. They're battle-tested believers who know how to stand when everyone else is running. They're people exactly like you. Do you realize what's at stake right now? Entire families, entire communities, entire nations hanging in the balance. And God is looking at you. In times of great transition, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. He doesn't look for perfect vessels. He looks for willing ones. Moses stuttered. David was an adulterer. Peter denied Christ 3 times. Yet God used them to change history. What makes you think your past disqualifies you from your future? The real question isn't whether God can use you. The real question is, will you let him? When this season of history is written about, and it will be, what will they say about you? Will they say you recognized the moment? Will they say you answered the call? Or will they say you missed it because fear kept you silent? Romans 8:19 says, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." Creation is waiting for you to step into who you really are. This isn't just about your comfort. This isn't just about your blessing. This is about your assignment in the greatest transition humanity has ever seen. You were born for such a time as this. And now, I need you to do something. Right now, in the comments below, type "for such a time as this" if you believe God placed you here on purpose. Then tag someone else who needs to wake up and rise. Someone who's been settling for less than their calling. Someone who's been hiding their light. Because the world doesn't just need my voice or your voice, it needs every voice. Heaven has positioned for this moment. But here's what most people don't understand about divine timing. When God says, "It's time," He doesn't just open a door, He creates an entirely new path. And that path is appearing right before your eyes, even as I speak these words. What was once a feeling has now become confirmation. Chosen one, listen closely. Heaven is not silent anymore. The green light has been given. For months, perhaps even years, you felt it. That stirring, that knowing, that sense that something was coming. You couldn't explain it to others, could you? They looked at you like you were chasing shadows, like you were hearing things. But you weren't crazy. You weren't imagining it. The oil is fresh, the heavens are open, and the gate has been unlocked. Do you understand what I'm telling you? This isn't just spiritual poetry. This is a divine declaration over your life right now. In Ezekiel 37:12, God says, "O my people, I am going to open your graves and bring you up from them." What are those graves in your life? Dreams that died, hopes that were buried, promises that seemed forgotten. Look up. Do you see it? That green light in the spiritual atmosphere above your situation. Heaven's approval has been granted. The Father is nodding yes over what the enemy tried to label impossible. Let me ask you something that might shock you. What if your waiting wasn't a punishment but a protection? What if God wasn't withholding from you, but withholding for you? That's where you've been, in the gap, in the waiting room of heaven. But today, right now, I need you to hear me clearly. The gap is closing. I see it in the spirit. A massive key slowly turning in a lock that's been rusted shut by delay and disappointment. That key is turning for you right now. Can you hear the click? That's the sound of your destiny area being unlocked. But chosen one, you need to understand something crucial. An open door doesn't mean automatic entry. You must still choose to walk through it. You must still decide to leave behind what's comfortable and familiar. Remember the Israelites? They stood at the edge of their promised land, their open door, and still, an entire generation chose to remain in the wilderness because fear spoke louder than faith. What about you? What will your choice be? In Revelation 3:8, Jesus says, "See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." No one, not your past mistakes, not your current limitations, not your financial situation, not your age, not your health, not your critics, not even the devil himself. No one can shut the door that God has opened for you. Today, I'm asking you to make your declaration. If you feel this confirmation in your spirit, if you know beyond knowing that God is speaking directly to you right now, I want you to type "The door is open" in the comments below. Don't just type it casually. Type it as an act of faith. Type it as your spiritual blood on the doorpost. Type it as your declaration to heaven, earth, and hell that you are walking through in faith. You know, I'd really love to hear from you. How did this message speak to your spirit today? What door do you feel God opening in your life? Please share in the comments below. If you're struggling to believe, just type "praying for faith," and I promise you, this community will lift you up. You are not alone here. And if this message touched your heart, please consider sharing it. Someone in your circle is standing at their own threshold right now, wondering if they should step through. Your share could be the confirmation they need. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for staying with me through this entire message. These aren't just words on a script to me. This is a divine appointment between your spirit and God's truth. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I believe God has more to say to you through this channel, and I don't want you to miss a single word that might be meant specifically for your season. Remember, chosen one, the door is open, heaven is waiting, and your time is now. Go in peace, walk in power, and live in the full assurance that what God has started, He will complete. Until next time, walking through in faith. You know, I'd really love to hear from you. How did this message speak to your spirit today? What door do you feel God opening in your life? Please share in the comments below. If you're struggling to believe, just type "praying for faith," and I promise you, this community will lift you up. You are not alone here. And if this message touched your heart, please consider sharing it. Someone in your circle is standing at their own threshold right now, wondering if they should step through. Your share could be the confirmation they need. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for staying with me through this entire message. These aren't just words on a script to me, this is a divine appointment between your spirit and God's truth. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I believe God has more to say to you through this channel, and I don't want you to miss a single word that might be meant specifically for your season. Remember, chosen one, the door is open. Heaven is waiting, and your time is now. Go in peace, walk in power, and live in the full assurance that what God has started, He will complete. Until next time, this is Divine Wisdom, believing with you and for you, walking through in faith. You know, I'd really love to hear from you. How did this message speak to your spirit today? What door do you feel God opening in your life? Please share in the comments below. If you're struggling to believe, just type "praying for faith," and I promise you, this community will lift you up. You are not alone here. And if this message touched your heart, please consider sharing it. Someone in your circle is standing at their own threshold right now, wondering if they should step through. Your share could be the confirmation they need. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for staying with me through this entire message. These aren't just words on a script to me, this is a divine appointment between your spirit and God's truth. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I believe God has more to say to you through this channel, and I don't want you to miss a single word that might be meant specifically for your season. Remember, chosen one, the door is open, heaven is waiting, and your time is now. Go in peace, walk in power, and live in the full assurance that what God has started, He will complete. Until next time, this is Divine Wisdom, believing with you and for you, walking through in faith. You know, I'd really love to hear from you. How did this message speak to your spirit today? What door do you feel God opening in your life? Please share in the comments below. If you're struggling to believe, just type "praying for faith," and I promise you, this community will lift you up. You are not alone here. And if this message touched your heart, please consider sharing it. Someone in your circle is standing at their own threshold right now, wondering if they should step through. Your share could be the confirmation they need. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for staying with me through this entire message. These aren't just words on a script to me, this is a divine appointment between your spirit and God's truth. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I believe God has more to say to you through this channel, and I don't want you to miss a single word that might be meant specifically for your season. Remember, chosen one, the door is open, heaven is waiting, and your time is now. Go in peace, walk in power, and live in the full assurance that what God has started, He will complete. Until next time, this is Divine Wisdom, believing with you and for you, walking through in faith. You know, I'd really love to hear from you. How did this message speak to your spirit today? What door do you feel God opening in your life? Please share in the comments below. If you're struggling to believe, just type "praying for faith," and I promise you, this community will lift you up. You are not alone here. And if this message touched your heart, please consider sharing it. Someone in your circle is standing at their own threshold right now, wondering if they should step through. Your share could be the confirmation they need. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for staying with me through this entire message. These aren't just words on a script to me, this is a divine appointment between your spirit and God's truth. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I believe God has more to say to you through this channel, and I don't want you to miss a single word that might be meant specifically for your season. Remember, chosen one, the door is open, heaven is waiting, and your time is now. Go in peace, walk in power, and live in the full assurance that what God has started, He will complete. Until next time, this is Divine Wisdom, believing with you and for you,